Today, 16 players are here are trying to win $50,000. Every one of them holds a different riddle, but only one of them holds the jackpot riddle. You never know when someone in the game will stand up and yell.
Are we on the air? I'm your host, Sean Wilsey, and for over 30 years I hosted shows on cable shopping networks, and now I want to welcome you to Are We on the Air, the podcast that is all about the world of DRTV, direct response television, and marketing, and items connected to it, and we're going to have a good show today. This is what I've been wanting to do and been looking forward to doing for a while, because it actually takes me back to 1986, and a show that fascinated me to no end. It was on at 2 in the morning to 8 in the morning when the Nashville network went off the air. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, but it all ties in with the world of bingo and how bingo got connected with the world of television shopping in two different ways, which is why it's of interest to us and what we're dealing with here as the subject matter of Are We on the Air. But bingo, as far as attempts to make it successful on television, go back to the earliest days of TV. In fact, Monty Hall from Let's Make a Deal fame got his first big break in television by hosting a local bingo show on TV in New York City. And he just sat there and called numbers, and housewives watched it. I guess were intrigued enough by it that it lasted for a while. And, well, it certainly made him famous. So, his career was certainly much better off for it. But it didn't stop there. And in some ways, maybe it should have. Since the 1950s, there have been numerous attempts to make bingo successful on television. And this is where we do the slow build-up to how TV shopping got involved in the world of bingo. But yes, attempts to make bingo interesting and entertaining enough that people would watch it on TV go back quite a way.
Would you like to win $5?
Yes.
Would you like to win $25?
Yes.
How about $100?
I don't know, there's tax implications.
$1,000.
Too much money.
Well, you can, and if you play your cards right, you can too. As we play television's newest, richest, most exciting game, Super Bingo.
Super.
Welcome to the television game you can play right where you're sitting.
Well.
Bingo at home. In fact, in the next half hour, you may even be a winner.
From Hollywood, the entertainment capital of the world, the center of fun, games, and
what a build-up.
stars, we bring you the...
By the way, I tried all morning to find that music. That music entertains me as much as the telephone auction music does. In fact, now you know what we have to do. We have to back it up a little bit. I like the build up too. Boy, this is going to be big. From Hollywood, home of anything interesting.
We bring you the only game show with nationwide audience participation. It's Celebrity Bingo. The game you play right along with us each and every single day.
Ooh, I like this.
It's time for the Bingo Break
Oh, a talk show.
with your hosts, Bob Morella and Karen Tate. Bingo Master Sean Mooney.
Bingo Master.
The Dave Smith Five. And our psychic advisor joins us.
Wait, what?
And now, here's...
You're what? The psychic advisor. This is a talk show that's trying to incorporate bingo into. I'm telling you, it was inevitable that TV shopping tries it, because every other format had tried it. And yes, they had a live band in the studio. So it was like a host and hostess, the Bingo Master. I wonder if that's on his resume. I'm going to find on LinkedIn. I'm going to find that guy. Bingo Master. Where were we? The attempts to make this work.
And now, here's Bob and Karen.
How would you like a chance to win a new car, an exciting vacation,
Ooh.
or $10,000 in cash?
Nice.
Today, that chance could be yours on the TV game you play to win $10,000 bingo. And now, here's your host for $10,000 bingo, Norval Rhodes.
There's a Hollywood stage. Norval Rhodes. John Smith taken. I'm sure he's a nice guy.
Thank you, everybody. How are you? Great. Boy, we're glad to have you here because we're all set to play the show that hopes you can grin and win. It's $10,000 Bingo, our version of America's most popular game.
Oh, that's breaking news. Bingo's America's most popular game. Right, okay. I would have thought of baseball maybe, or football. Anyway, so that's just, believe me, I could have done 10 minutes of clips of attempts to make bingo entertaining on television. And where it really took off was in the 1980s. And there were a number of almost successful attempts to get bingo successful on television. Why was this important? Well, the almighty dollar. Why is anything become important on TV? Because people can make money off of it. And these attempts, these game shows and these talk shows, it didn't have that home element. It wasn't resonating with people because you're sitting there watching people play bingo. How dull could that possibly be? Think about that. Have you ever sat in a bingo parlor and not played and just watched people play? No! So they tried to find entertaining things to put into it. None of these things ever got ratings. Some of those were pilots that never even made it off the air, or on the air, staying off the air. But there started to be some successful ideas in the 1980s where people were making bingo work through direct response. Now, not direct response television, but through direct response. Because remember, direct response is anything that gets a customer to take action. And therein lied the key. One of the first attempts was in about 1980. A little 90-second thing called Bingo Express. It was hosted by a Canadian fellow by the name of Mike Darrow, who had had some success in the United States as well, with some television programs, some game shows. And it was just 90 seconds, but it was scheduled at certain times. So you'd see it at 5:20 in the evening or 9:20 in the morning. And the direct response part of it was getting people to get the bingo cards. Now, to do that, you went to a supermarket, usually an IGA-connected store, which was a big chain back then. So the customer, the player, would go in and, again, direct response, go in to get the card, but then hopefully stay in the shop and linger and buy something. And so that actually had some degree of success because, again, then it became appointment viewing. At 5:20, I had to tune in Channel 3 and watch them, and they would draw numbers. They would draw one number every day until one number under each letter on the bingo card had been drawn. And then you tuned in the next day and the next day and the next day. And then finally at the end of the week, if you had a bingo, you won a turkey or whatever the hell it was from the grocery store. I don't know. I don't remember the prizes, honestly. And there's surprisingly little about Bingo Express anywhere on the internet. I vividly remember it because we had to go to IGA to get a card so I could play the stupid game at 5:20 or 5:25, whatever it was, on Channel 3. So after that, then you had some brains start to think, you know what, this would be a good little local thing. We can do local versions of this. And it actually became so successful that in 1985, December 1985, Broadcasting and Cable magazine wrote quite an article about local game shows with national hopes. And they were mainly the bingo-related shows. I remember in the mid-'80s now, game shows were starting to take off again. Wheel of Fortune had found its legs at night. Jeopardy had found its legs at night, and so all the TV stations now where they were looking for the next Wheel of Fortune, looking for the next Jeopardy, and many of them said, we can do something on the cheap here and keep it local, have a local flavor to it. And Jackpot Bingo became one of the big ones in Los Angeles, for instance. Again, people had to go visit merchants to get the cards. And in fact, in this article, Dean McCarthy, Vice President of Program Services for Harrington, Ryder, and Parsons, said that locally produced game shows are, quote, an idea whose time has come. History books have been written on that, and it wasn't quite true. And he cited the broad popularity of bingo and the opportunity for viewers at home to win money. Quoting him again, it could be the beginning of an era, adding there's no reason why the local productions can't be played in access against heavy hitters like Wheel of Fortune. And then another gentleman was hitting on the direct response thing, and this is really what was the key and the success for these local bingo shows. Station president and general manager Thomas Headley said the decision to go national, because there was talk of going national, I'll get to that in a second, with these shows, was not the result of testing, but rather the simple phenomena of, quote, the direct response, unquote, in sales seen by managers of retail outlets where players go to pick up the cards. Sponsors are getting results, he said. There are 400 to 500 supermarkets, fast food restaurants, and chain stores carrying the cards in the Los Angeles area for these local shows. And so they realized we're onto something here. So now the idea of let's do these cute little local shows at a fraction of the price became let's go national. And Jackpot Bingo was actually pitched for syndication, I think it was the next year. Artie Johnson and Nancy Sinatra. Let me pause for a moment. Yes, Artie Johnson and Nancy Sinatra were pitched as the hosts for the national version of Jackpot Bingo. Never went anywhere. Now we start to get into, because again, we've seen direct response, we've seen how it works. I want to play a little clip so you can understand what these shows sounded like. There's nothing visually to really see. It's two people standing by the little ping pong ball machine that pulls out the numbers. So the concept on paper is great. I can get customers in the store. They're going to get bingo cards so they can go at home and play bingo. On paper, it's great. Here is the execution.
Pick the next ball. Anita's going to say something about gerbils.
I like gerbils.
I knew she'd say something about that. It's in the cue cards. N44, N44.
N44, N44. Double.
You know, Sean comes in here, and he's so goofed up from
do what?
surfing, he comes in and he's got the cue cards upside down. So maybe we should do the show standing on our heads one day so we can read them, actually. I don't know. Feels like we're in China. 068, 068.
068, 068. There's the board.
Isn't this riveting?
There is the board. Our next number, N38.
N38, N38.
I-25, I-25.
Y 25, y 25.
N
30 minutes of that. So you better hope that people have gone to your stores and picked up the cards and are playing along, because that's watching paint dry. I have yet to sit through the entire 30-minute clip of this episode, and I will probably go to my grave having never done that. But if you get hundreds of people into the store to pick up the cards, and I'm the retailer, and I've seen this foot traffic increase, I'm intrigued, and I'm saying, wait a minute, I'm getting some people in. Now, are they buying? I don't know. But eventually, two things happen here. First off, because they're playing Blackout Bingo. For those that don't know, that's the entire coverall of the card. And so you have to sit at home and hope. They're going to draw 60 numbers, remember. 60 numbers over the course of that half hour. Riveting. And then they ad-lib. Wasn't that funny? The thing, anyway. And so in order to win the big money, because the way Blackout works, you have to get it in 49 numbers to win the big prize, whatever it is. Nobody ever wins. And so two things happen. People realize, I'm not winning anything with this stupid show. So they just stopped watching, and then they stopped going in for cards. And so eventually these shows go away because the novelty wears off once people realize, I am not going to win anything. So that had to be it, right? There we go. 1985. Idea. Done. That's it. Goodbye. Let's, in fact, we'll just, well, I guess we can close the show early then, can't we? I get to go home. So, yeah. Thank you for downloading this edition of Are We On the Air? And, oh, there's more? Oh, that's right. I forgot the whole big TV shopping thing, the reason we're here. Because, no. Lesson not learned. And I say this, by the way, with the most respect in the world. The gentleman that's responsible for what you're going to be hearing next, which is where TV shopping met bingo, is a man by the name of Ray Lindstrom. Now, a name probably maybe 5 people listening to this, if even, know. I'm a huge fan of his work, and you have seen his work, I promise you. He basically is responsible for the infomercial. The original infomercial ever done was something he created and he came up with. So that is a pretty big resume right there. He's also the man responsible, if you've ever seen the Starving Artist sales, ever see those? Come to the Holiday Inn Airport this weekend and buy art. He's the man who created that idea. He's created a lot of businesses and a lot of concepts. We're going to talk more about him when we do the 900 number show, because he's basically the man who put 900 numbers on the charts and on TVs everywhere. Well, in 1986, he had this idea because he was, again, a marketer, and he knew marketing, and said, TV shopping is so successful. HSN, home shopping network. There's no QVC yet. They're in something like 10 million homes. And he was buying the overnight time in the Nashville network between 2 and 8 Central Time, 3 and 9 Eastern, so when most people were asleep. But they're in 40 million homes. And he used to buy that time and run his infomercials because he created a lot of infomercials. And he said, well, what if we took that entire 6-hour block of time and produced our own home shopping project? Because he saw the money that HSN was making. But put it into a form that makes people want to watch. In other words, sell a product or products within a program that people watch for another reason. Now, go back last season, listen to my show about game shows and TV shopping and how that didn't work. Well, this is predating, actually, those attempts. And he says everyone wants to win. How about a show where people could win money every night from their home? They watch the program to win, and then we would announce the winner right there on the show. And that's the difference between his attempted bingo and the jackpot bingo. Jackpot bingo and all the bingo shows on TV that had a play-along element. You know, maybe someone won, maybe they didn't. They drew their 60 numbers and went off the air and came back the next night and did it again. Here, he had a system set up where we're going to know during the show if there's a winner. And if there's a winner, we're going to get her on the phone and talk to her live. But in the meantime, we're going to be selling product. And he had arranged to have product sold, featured in a home shopping-like format. So here you have to watch the show to win because you have to be present to win. You got to be there watching the show live. We'll announce the winner. And while you're doing it, hey, we can sell you something. It's, again, on paper, a brilliant idea. And he came up with the idea for a show called Mania. Now, there's legalities involved in using the word bingo. And so he got by that by, instead of B-I-N-G-O, M-O-N-E-Y. So all the balls drawn were under M-O-N-E-Y. Again, brilliant on paper. Game starts. Again, 6 games a night. Each one runs an hour, selling in between. And they know whether there's a winner or not by using some computers to track the cards. And we'll get to that in a second. Let's listen to some Money Mania.
People are going to be glued to their television screen. Here is E46. Cover E46.
Okay.
You see on the screen $11,000.
E46.
Big money.
Right. Our biggest jackpot so far.
Next number.
What's she
Next
saying?
number is 029.
Can't hear you over the ping pong balls.
Cover O29.
All right. There we go. This is fun.
This through December 31st.
Called 2 numbers.
We have a lot of money to give away between now and then.
Y74.
Calling another one.
Cover Y.
All right. I'm going to win tonight, though. This is it. I'm going to win.
74. I should say we have a lot
Okay,
of
I'm
money
going
to be won.
to take that down because they're going to keep doing this. They're going to draw about 10, 15 numbers, and then they're going to stop, and then they're going to sell something. And then they're going to do this whole thing again. And honestly, it's going along, you know, I'm joking, but it's going along at a pretty good clip because they're able to draw these numbers. Remember what I said about the little, they would know if there's a winner right away because every card that was sent out, and to get cards, people had to send a self-addressed stamped envelope. And to get the cards, people had, when they got the cards, there was a little code in the center. And so that number was connected with the computer, which knew what numbers were on your card.
That one logged in the computer.
There we go.
Next number is Y67.
Okay, and so again, they're going to do this for a little bit, and then they're going to stop to sell product. So, good idea. Let's stop. Let's sell some product, because that's why we're here. We're not going to be giving away $11,000 unless we sell some product. Did that work smoothly?
Yep.
Nope, got to draw one more number first.
O26.
Then we're going to sell product.
O26.
See if you can figure out what's wrong as we transition into selling product. What is wrong with the product sale?
Okay, game number 2 is in progress. We're playing for a $500 cash jackpot, and we shall return to the game in just a moment or so.
But I tell you what, everybody, we know that all of you are still eager to win. That's why we've got 5 more games to play, each game worth $500. You know, it's beginning to get cold. I mean, January just a day away.
Where the time goes.
And I mean, even those of you in warm climates have those chilly days as well. And with the cold weather here to stay, it's a perfect time to be thinking about keeping warm. And that's what we want to show you right now. Our next item, cold weather's here to
Still
stay.
just done a host
and
show.
let's take a look at our next item. It's
Now
going to
run the
keep you toasty warm when the temperature is well below freezing.
That's right, everyone. Take a look at our very next item. This morning, we're offering you viewers a terrific price on this warm wool blend luxury blanket.
Figured out what's wrong yet?
And the matching throw. Now, in a department store, you'd pay anywhere like $39.95, $40, or even higher for the luxury blanket alone. But we're selling the blanket and the matching throw for the unbelievably low price this morning of just $39.95.
That was a bit of a tell as to what's wrong with
This is item
this.
number A37, $39.95 for both of these blankets.
I tell you what, you hit it right on the head there, Mark. $39.95 for both of these blankets. Quite a savings for items of such high-quality craftsmanship. Both blankets are part of the classic American collection, so you know they have the kind of excellent materials and crafting that you expect from items that are made right here in the USA.
Now take a closer look, because these brightly colored blankets are made out of 60%
Okay,
wool.
I'm going to bring the audio down. By the way, the video is nothing but literally just a shot of the blanket kind of folded up on a table. It's nothing exciting. Here's what's wrong with what they're doing. Because
this is the throw blanket. Now it is surrounded right here by the fringed
anyway,
edge.
it's scripted. That's why they aren't selling. They scripted the sale. So again, you're not necessarily, in fact, you're not at all talking to the customer. You're reading a script. And I have to give, again, cut some slack here, because, these are probably very nice people that they hired to pull numbers from this stupid machine, and they had to be able to ad-lib, which we're going to get to in just a second. But I'm sure that they thought, we have to script out these cells. But it kills the warmth and the emotion and everything about selling these products. So, and they have the typical graphic tower up, product description on the top, prices down the side, phone number on the bottom. But it didn't go. And in fact, Ray Lindstrom pointed out they lost about $2 million. And this only ran for 2.5 months. So $2 million in 1986 money, that's a big loss. But he's happy because he sold his company right before it kicked off, so he made money on the deal. But anyway, so here's the other reason why bingo in this format failed. Because you weren't selling product, and eventually the game came to almost a screeching halt. Because remember what I said about that computer and the code on your card. So once they've drawn the first 24 numbers, no problem. You can go at that pace they were going. After that, this is a 1986 computer. It's possible someone has blackout, because they're going for blackout or coverall. And so the computer has to start checking now every card in the system in the speed of a 1986 computer. And so again, as Ray says in his book, which, by the way, get his book, it's fantastic, as more cards were added, the time between balls got slower and slower. This allowed the host to really perform. They talked about the weather, they did what they did that day, favorite sports teams' recipes, where they were from, and on and on. So it definitely, you thought it was boring before? Well, let's draw another number.
E51, E51, E51.
Now, this is later in the game, so we got to kill time while the computer checks every card before the host get cued to draw another number.
My information sheet got mixed up with the letter.
So he's trying to read a letter.
Another letter from someone that's in the military. This gal really took some time out. This is the one
that's
that put
nice.
all of the states in order and listed all of the little tidbits and
Could have done something about the volume of the ping pong ball machine, maybe.
This took some work. Vicky, I really appreciate this. Let's see what
Still
she has
killing
to say
time.
about
Computer still checking
she has
numbers,
anything in
checking
here about
numbers. Is
Tampa,
there a winner?
Florida,
Because if there's a
Florida,
winner, then the
Florida.
game stops.
She's got something about
And the
every
person
state.
who has
This
that
really
card
took a little
has
work.
like 10 minutes, I think it is, to call, and then they
That's
put the
amazing.
person on the air.
It's all out of order. Florida.
Still
the
no number.
Sunshine State.
We're still waiting on the computer.
Museum in St.
Computer's still
Augustine
checking.
has toys dating back to the 1600s.
He's killing time.
With over, oh, you'd like this, with over 4,500
Still no number.
dolls.
Oh, I'd love,
Here we go.
love to see
Now,
that.
that's the kind of trivia I love.
N40.
So obviously, the host got the cue that we don't have a winner yet, and so we need to draw another number. And then once the computer, as I said, finds a winner. So that was the last attempt to put bingo on television. Not completely true. There was this little thing in 1987. I don't even know if it really counts.
Hi, I'm Mike Reagan.
And I'm Dusty Martell.
And that's how you play television's most challenging game show, Lingo.
Lingo. It's back, which is why I bring this up. It's back on TV. RuPaul is hosting this version. This was the 1987 version. It's a word game, which, by the way, Wordle, not new. It's lingo. But it had a bingo element, which they removed from the current version, so it was kind of fun to see. Because they did a nice job with it. You guessed the 5-letter word, then you drew some numbers, and the winner was the first person to get a lingo, again, changing the word. So, but no, seriously, I'm not here to sell books, but Ray Lindstrom, he is an amazing book. In fact, it's called Fearless Confessions of a Serial Entrepreneur, because even after he did Money Mania, then he got into the 900 numbers, and it's just, he's still with us at 82 years old, I think, now. I'd love to, oh man, would I love to get him on the show. The stories he can tell would be fascinating. So, but that was the attempt. Oh, one more attempt I almost forgot about, because there's no video of this that exists. Home Shopping Club, back when they were still Home Shopping Club, about 2 years after Money Mania came and went, they did their own little bingo game called Bargo, but it was during the show. You know how QVC worked their word game into the show and did it seamlessly in about a minute? Well, HSN decided they were going to have a bingo game where people would have cards at home and they would draw numbers, and you saw how long it takes to draw numbers there in the audio that I've played. Imagine stopping your home shopping show for 5 minutes to draw bingo numbers. It kills the sales. But they were committed to it. They had like 6 Cadillacs that they were giving away, and so they had to run the full course until they gave away these 6 Cadillacs or whatever it was. So that was it. That was it. Thankfully, Money Mania, Bargo, all these other attempts, and the 80s closed out. And as the 80s closed out, no one else ever tried to put bingo on television again.
From the spectacular Trump Castle in world-famous Atlantic City, it's time to play television's non-stop game of knowledge, Trump Card. And now, here's the star of Trump Card, Jimmy Cephalo.
Thank you for joining us today for Trump Card. We're here at the fabulous Trump Castle in Atlantic City, where competition is king. Before we begin, I'd like to introduce a very special guest. Ladies and gentlemen, our host here at Trump Castle, Mr. Donald Trump.
Thank you, Jimmy. It's great to be on the same team as you. I'd also like to take this opportunity to welcome our viewers to Trump Card. It's an intelligent and challenging game, and in the great tradition of America, if you're smart and persevere, there's a good chance you'll come out on top.
I certainly agree with that, Donald.
I hope so.
All right. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump.
Yes, I know, Travis. That's why we give such bargains.